Can you
hear you? Hi, everyone, and welcome to Everything Under the Moon. I am your host tonight. My name is Becky McKitty Guidison, and with me is my co-host Kyrra. How are you doing, Kyrra?
Hi, Becky. I am doing great today. How are you?
I am doing good. I'm just very happy that my computer is up and running because I had a lot of issues earlier with my internet. So I'm very happy it's here and it's working, and we're good to go tonight.
Yay.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And we have two guests tonight, not just one. And they are Benny and Rob, but I think Rob might be having some technical difficulties and can't hear us, maybe. So, yeah, he's saying he can't hear us. Kyrra, you want to maybe type in the chat for him to exit out and come back in, because sometimes that works.
All right, will do.
All right, thank you. Until we get Rob back, Benny, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, hello. My name is Benny James White. I'm
you.
the creative director.
I
With
can't
Loebl
hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Rob. Can you hear us?
No.
No, still can't hear us. All right. I think they're going to. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm the creative director with Wild West Enterprises. It's a group that's working to help save old Tucson. And Rob and I have had a chance to work in the past. We've done a lot of different shows together, a lot of creative shows, magic shows. And one of the other specialties I do, aside from creating magic shows, is I also do seance shows as well. So very much in the ghost and the supernatural alleyway. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Oh, well, that's very cool. I didn't know about the seance part. That really fits in our alley.
Yeah.
Just wait till you hear about my lineage. More on that later.
All right. Well, we brought you and Rob on tonight because we know that you have. Rob, can you hear us now?
Oh, still not here.
Still not here?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Quick, everyone do semaphores.
Maybe Stan, if he's around, he can give Rob some advice on how to be able to hear us. Hopefully that will happen. Stan is out to dinner enjoying chocolate cake right now. So
Lucky Stan.
Yeah, hopefully our producer will get with you, Rob, even though you can't hear me. And hopefully we'll get this situated. Until then, Benny, I'll focus on talking to you about this.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I think it was a couple weeks ago, you guys had an event for Save Old Tucson. Mm-hmm. And I was honored enough to be there, and I got to hear all kinds of things about what you're planning on doing. And I'm really hoping it works out for you guys and that it all, happens, because Old Tucson is a treasure. And for those that don't know what Old Tucson is, do you want to go a little bit into that for them?
Sure, absolutely. I will tell you in all honesty, of all the people who've worked out there, I'm one of the newer people who's had a chance to experience the history, but there's a lot of history out there. What I do know is that it was a town that was constructed not as a living situation, but actually as a movie set. It was originally made, I believe, in 1939 for the film Arizona. And the thing about movie sets is typically when they're created, they don't have any future plans for them. So most of the time when they build them, they shoot their film and then they're done with it. But a lot of locals really love the work that was put into it and say, you know what, let's preserve this piece of history. Let's make something more of it. So they ended up not only filming more films and televisions out there like Tombstone, Three Amigos, even episodes of Little House on the Prairie and Gunsmoke, they also had the idea to create it as like a theme park, a chance for families to come out and experience the Wild West and the history of it. So anybody who's had a chance to go out there knows it's a one-of-a-kind experience. There's really not many places like it in the U.S., let alone in the world. And one of the things that we're really working to try to do with our group is to preserve that history.
Right. And I know that John Wayne did a lot out there.
Mm-hmm.
And back before COVID hit, I had actually worked with the people that used to own it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the security, and I forget one of the managers that were in charge back then. They took me in to John Wayne's apartment. He literally had an apartment there at Old Tucson that he would stay in while he was filming.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, this is so historical and so cool.
And did you know that John Wayne is the reason we actually have dirt roads out at Old Tucson?
Oh, really? Now, I did not know that fact.
When they first constructed it, they had all the dirt roads in there for the first original film. Then as they started doing more and more productions, some of the production companies came in and were like, we should really like pave these roads and make it nice. So they ended up putting in full paved streets into Old Tucson for a time. And then they ended up shooting some scenes with horses riding in, and the horses would start slipping and sliding on the pavement. Mm. John Wayne himself came in and said, listen, we either take these roads out or I'm never doing another picture here again. Oh, so it's because of John Wayne. So I always tell people when I'm visiting out there, it's because of John Wayne you have so much dust out here. But it really does add to the aesthetic, and it makes it, you know, so great for that Wild West feel.
Right. That is very cool. Do we have Rob back? Can he hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Woohoo! Welcome, Rob.
Yay!
All right. We got a comment from Adventures with Roto Comics that says howdy. So howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy, Roto.
Howdy.
So Rob, we already let Benny talk and introduce himself. If you would like to do the same, we would love that.
Well, sure. Robert Loebl, and I'm the founder of Wild West Enterprise, and got an amazing team together to do our very best to save Old Tucson. And like Benny, I've been performing out at Old Tucson for several years now. And I am actually the original ghost tour guide out at Old Tucson. I created that entire event out there.
Very cool.
And I have been in and out of every one of those structures in every phase of the moon. And there's definitely anything that you want to see out there. Lots of things that go bump in the night out there.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I was talking to Benny about how before COVID hit, I had actually worked with the people who had owned Old Tucson at the time. And I did every nightfall, they would have previews of the nightfall for iHeartRadio people. And so they would bring me out. I would run them through all the haunted attractions, which, as Kyrra knows, I am not one for fake haunted houses. I hate them. So I would literally walk through the attractions first going, okay, where's this? What's going to happen when this goes off? Because I was scared to death of walking through those and taking people in them. And then after I would take them through the attractions, because they thought it was hilarious to have a ghost hunter do it, we would actually do a true ghost hunt with iHeart people. And it was always fun. And before COVID hit, we were in the talks of doing ghost hunts and stuff like that out there. So COVID kind of ruined that for me. But I was telling Benny that I was honored enough to be able to go into John Wayne's apartment on one of those visits. We didn't ghost hunt in there. We were very respectful and we didn't do that. But it was just so cool to, you know, see that history, know that it's there. My grandmother would watch John Wayne films over and over again. She loved John Wayne. So for me to be able to go in there, I was like, my grandma would have loved this. She would have just been like, Becky, you're so lucky.
Well, I can assure you that everywhere around John Wayne's cabin, EMF readers are hot the entire time on every single tour I ever took.
See, I believe that John Wayne does still exist out there. I
It
really
wouldn't surprise me. And you think about it, he spent a very large portion of his life out there.
yes.
Over a decade, he was on that set.
Yes.
So it'd make perfect sense to me. And he loved it out there.
Yes. And then from, you know, all the history and all the digging we do, and Kyrra's our historian, so she does a lot of digging, but I even knew this. John would film his stuff out at Old Tucson, and then for premieres, he would go to Fox Theater and watch them.
Absolutely.
So I always thought that was interesting because I would work with Old Tucson and I would work with Fox. And so with them tying in together, I was like, that was always such a cool little fact that I would give people on my ghost hunts and tours and stuff. I would be like, hey, Old Tucson and Fox has this connection with John Wayne.
Right.
So cool.
And people always loved that, you know, especially the older crowd. They always loved that little fun fact. And
Absolutely.
they would always want to see his seat at Fox Theater. So
Right.
but, you know, I definitely think he's still around. You know, Old Tucson, you know, was very important to him. I definitely feel he's still there. But before we get into all the hauntings and all that stuff, I want you guys to be able to talk about your mission and what it is that you want to do out there. And then we'll get into all the fun haunting parts.
Sounds good.
All right.
Take it away.
Well, for starters, it's going to be going back to a film studio. That's what it was designed to be, and done the right way, we can completely rebuild a new old Tucson. We can never really bring it back exactly the same way it was because of some of the newer construction that was done after the fire. But we can not only do our best, but we can actually exceed what was there previously. We've got the plans to do it. We've got the support to do it, and we're working behind the scenes to make it happen.
Very, very cool. Because I know, and for those that don't know, there was a huge fire that basically destroyed most of Old Tucson.
Yep.
And that was very devastating for Old Tucson. You lost sound stages, a lot of the costumes, a lot of things were just gone because of this fire.
Yeah, it was a little over 50% of the park.
Yes. And they did rebuild, but they didn't rebuild everything. I think it was more like, let's throw this together and get it reopened.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So things weren't put exactly where they were previously, and so things will need to change. But you know, change is good.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you got to go backwards to see what worked, and then go forward. And in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s, what old Tucson had was working. And people were there all the time. And there's no reason why we can't get back to that. So we're doing everything we can to do that and keep it all 100% Tucson.
Yeah.
We're not looking for any investors outside or any partners outside of Tucson. And that way, any money that is generated stays in Tucson. And that's going to be huge. It's going to be the first time in over 40 years that we'll be able to contribute to not only the county, but the city as well.
Yeah, because one of our biggest goals is, as much as possible, make it for locals, by locals.
Absolutely.
That's one of our biggest benchmark goals that we want for this place.
Right. And that's wonderful. Being a local business owner myself, I'm totally for the local community, to support the local community and stay here in Tucson. I know how devastating it is to have national things move in and just kind of take things over, and they don't understand the town. They don't understand the community. And so to have all that local community come together and support one another, I think is a wonderful thing. And that's why I wanted to bring you guys on tonight, because it's so important to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. And the support has been amazing. Through our entire campaign, the responses, I mean, the love is there, and the support, and it's just shown us even more how important it is to bring it back to what it was. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Is we're going to bring it back.
Right. And that's what I think a lot of us want to see, and I will honestly admit, I haven't been out there since COVID. After COVID, I haven't set foot on
You're
the
not the
property.
first one to say that. So
Exactly. You are not alone. And we're all about changing that 100%. And I think that I think it's really it's gonna happen. More Tucsonans know that it's open now than they have in the past 5 years anyway.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's we're off to a good start,
Right.
and we're we're well on our way. We're fulfilling every single promise that we put out there. Otherwise, we wouldn't have made them.
Mhm.
And we're not only here to bring back old Tucson, but we're here to make Tucsonans proud of old Tucson.
Yes.
Right. And what a lot of people don't know is that Old Tucson was at one point in time the second most visited site in Arizona. The only
That's right.
thing above it was the Grand Canyon.
We're hoping
Exactly.
to beat that hole in the ground.
And we are going to beat that hole in the ground. There's no reason why not. And we've got everything to do that. And we're a total escape from reality and AI, which
Yep.
is
There you
going to
go.
become more and more important as the years go by.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do not get me started on AI.
No. Right here, right now, you have two people who are 100% AI, which stands for actual idiots.
There you go. Right? But we wear it like a badge.
We do, like a badge of courage.
I
on
can
our
deal with
left
that
tooth.
over the computer AI.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, I actually did an interview, I think it was last week or the week before, about competitions that I have in town doing AI tours. They do their entire script based on AI.
Wow.
And the problem with that is there's so many things that AI gets wrong. And
Yep.
they've never set foot here in Tucson. So
Yep.
they know nothing about the local history. They know nothing about the community. So that whole AI thing really trips me up. For
Yeah.
fun, I put in some stuff into AI and asked it some questions, and it got like nothing wrong. It even got the math wrong on some things. And I'm like, I would hate to be the tour guide that gives those tours, and you're walking around and you're giving all false information.
Oh man,
You have the dates wrong.
that's basically the same as doing a tour guide off of Wikipedia. And over here, we had the Charlie Mancini incident.
Yep.
Yeah, one thing I told my tour guys, I'm like, know the history. I'm like,
Yeah.
because people will correct you on that history. If you have a local
Oh, yeah.
taking that tour, know that history.
Oh,
So
Absolutely.
it's very important. And, I know Old Tucson is historical and has a lot of history there, and I know how important that is.
Right.
So history to, Tucson and, the people who live here, it's very important to us. And so, they want to make sure that that's right and that it's not being, falsely put out there.
absolutely.
And I love Old Tucson. I love the fact that it was started just because of that one little movie, and it's built and built and built, and you guys are making sure that it stays there. It goes back to what it used to be. Hopefully, it beats the Grand Canyon, but that big
Hopefully.
hole in the ground, it's really big. So
I know it's big, but I think we can go a little bit bigger. I don't want to brag, but I think we can go bigger.
I had lived in Arizona for quite a few years, and just a couple years ago, I finally went to see the Grand Canyon. I had lived here for years and years and years and never went, and we finally said, you know what? We live in a state where the Grand Canyon's so, freaking popular. Let's go see it.
You gotta do it. It's like I lived in Missouri for a while, and I finally had a chance to go up into the Arch. So you got to do it. You got to.
Yeah.
Do it.
It's like if you live in the state, you got to do that stuff. And just
Yep.
like if you're local, you've been to Old Tucson. I'm sure at some point in time you've been to Old Tucson.
Exactly. Yep.
Maybe not since COVID, but
Right. And a lot of them not since the fire.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to bring back because of that memory that so many have from our childhood. It's our duty to give that same experience to the next generation and the generation after that. And that's what we're about. There's no reason why we can't get this thing going for another 100 years and bump that movie count from 470 to almost 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And with the way everything's going with the film industry, Tucson could very well, if it's played right, we could be the next Hollywood. We could be the hub of the Southwest for sure. It's just it's going to take the right group to do it, and I personally think that I've put together the right team to accomplish that goal.
And we hope that you do.
Here's open.
So do we.
That would be a wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
Especially, if you guys plan on, trying to get it back to that original form. Because I remember one of my first trips out there getting to go into that sound stage that they used to have. And I was just like in awe. I was like, wow, this is huge. It's beautiful. I was always into acting, but I never took that path. And to me, it was like one of those moments to where I was like, this is so cool. And, and then it disappeared. So it's not there anymore. And some of the costumes, because I remember seeing some of the costumes that were on display, and those are gone now. I know you can't get the costumes back, but at least, you can rebuild and, get a sound stage again and things like that.
Right. And sadly enough, what wasn't lost in the fire was lost by those who followed.
Yeah.
And we're going to do everything to bring it all back and forget that was, that the last 30 years have happened. And if you think about it, this is kind of the cycle that old Tucson is taken. Life is a circle, and you get your peaks and your valleys. After Arizona was filmed in 1939, Columbia Pictures left it to melt in the desert. It sat there until 1959, a full 20 years before Bob Shelton came in with his dream. And his dream was to have it be just like Knott's Berry Farms. And it just happened to be he was friends with John Wayne, and that's what brought it back to being a film studio. John Wayne, and through his movies, are what added a whole nother 22 buildings to the park back then. So if you think about it, at this stage, we're almost back to about the same size that it was in 1959 when Bob Shelton found it. We're pretty much finding it in the same disrepair, and we're going to bring it back just like Bob Shelton did, and we're going to take his dream and turn it into our legacy.
That's very
like a good necromancer will bring it back to life.
That's right.
For sure. And we got a good comment from Roto again. It says that the Old Tucson property is about 300 acres, where the actual park itself is only 20 acres. So lots of room to expand and grow and do all really fun things.
Exactly. Our plan is to grow it to a size that actually Tucson has never seen before. We've got huge plans, and we're very much excited to show Tucson what we can do.
That's very, very cool. And I hope that, if it all goes well, I'm hoping, that a certain someone will be considered for ghost hunts and things out there.
Who can we think of, Rob?
Well,
you know what we should do?
When you know people, you know people,
We need to get some, Rob.
When you know.
We should seriously consider getting someone who's a redhead. I think
I feel that, that's the best way to go. Yes,
someone who looks just like Lucille Ball in her younger years. I think that would be like perfect. Yeah,
and a bubbly personality, and
let's not
right there. You go.
Let's not go crazy with that. But,
oh, come on.
We will definitely be talking.
I hope so.
For sure.
Because, as you guys know, being local, sometimes it is difficult, especially when you have, national things moving in on you.
Exactly.
And, so local supporting local.
Absolutely. That's what we are all about, and we are more than happy to help. And it'll be big. We can do big things. So, yes, absolutely.
That would be so awesome. And I have to ask, I know, Rob, you've been running some of the ghost stuff out there, but Benny, have you had any paranormal experiences out there?
Actually, I've had a couple.
Really?
So, and the surprising thing is, even though I created a couple of different seance experiences out at Old Tucson, Not once during those experiences did I ever have a haunting, but during the musical inside the Grand Palace, I did have two very distinct ones that I can tell you about. The first one, which was fairly memorable, was I remember we were doing a show. I was staged up by the bar, leaning up against it like a cowboy, just waiting for my cue to come up. Everybody was seated. There's nobody walking around. Didn't hear any footsteps around me. Everyone was invested in the show. And all of a sudden, I felt a very distinct and firm on my shoulder. I immediately turned around. Nobody there. In a crowded room, everybody was seated. Not a thing. I turned back around to see if maybe it was like a shoulder pop or something with wardrobe. Couldn't replicate it. No idea how that happened. But then the really crazy one was this was just after a show. Me and one of my co-stars were walking from the backstage green room, and we were just passing the big staircase. Now, for anybody who's never been to Old Tucson, inside the Grand Palace, there's this beautiful grand staircase, and it goes up to the top, and then it splits in two directions. One of the paths that it splits to takes you all along the upper portion into some of the back rooms and the tech areas and such. The other way it splits, it goes up another short little staircase right into a room that is complete dead end. And I think it's like a little sound booth room that hasn't really been used as such. So as we're walking past the staircase, all of a sudden, myself, my female co-star, and a guest hear the door slam to that little sound booth room. Now, we looked up figuring, oh, well, maybe that's just one of our technicians walking into that room for some reason. So I figured, okay. So I immediately started walking up the stairs, walked into the room, opened it up, looked inside. Absolutely nobody in there at all. Could not explain how that was done. One of the other things that happened too, and this was the last big one, was one of the nights after nightfall, because I'd been doing the seance shows, we decided, well, it's after hours, let's host an actual, real, legitimate seance inside the Grand Palace. And we definitely had some fun activity with a Ouija board on that one. One of my co-stars almost fainted during that experience. It was pretty intense, to be sure. So, yeah, there's quite a lot of activity out there.
Yes. The Grand Palace is a section of Old Tucson that we did have some experiences at too. I got touched there too. In fact, I was exiting to go to the next location because we made that kind of like our home base. Mm-hmm. And I was exiting to go to the next location. And as I'm going out the door, I got tapped. Mm. And so I'm thinking it's one of my team members, but there is nobody behind me.
Yep.
We had a camera set up in like the upstairs area, and it was just like storage or whatever. And I forget which room it was in, but there was a cutout of John Wayne. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, just for the heck of it, we're going to put a laser grid and everything on him, see what happens. It just fell over.
Oh,
there's no windows open, no breeze, no nothing, but it fell over at one point in time.
Wow.
And then we had someone that was in there at the monitors by themselves and heard footsteps on the stage.
Mm.
And then Kyrra, I know you just went over the slideshow, and Jennifer had mentioned, what was it, a shadow in there? I think she saw.
I do not remember. I'll be honest, but I know that people did have experiences in there. I know people did see shadows, so could have been there.
I think she had saw a shadow in there. So that is definitely one of the more interesting buildings for sure.
Definitely. 100%.
Yes. Did we lose Rob, or are you still there?
I'm backstage.
Okay, he's backstage. So
okay, he's backstage.
he's getting his long locks conditioned by his team of PR people.
Yeah, there's only you can see me. So
yeah, it's just one guy named Jorge who's like he does a lot of maintenance. It's great.
Yeah, no, the palace is a wild place. There's all kinds of things that happen in the palace.
Stan, you completely echoed on me. Everyone, this is Stan, our producer.
Hello, Stan. Can you hear us, Rob?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
perfect. Many times along the back wall of the palace, I've seen footsteps, and then all of a sudden, the back sink behind the bar will turn itself on for about 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen quite a few times. And then the Del Toro is another one. lots of shadows at night in Delta, and then children laughing inside the courthouse. That happens more on a full moon than a new moon. But yeah, there's stuff over that. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Now the I don't know what you guys call it, but I always said it was the mine that used to have the ride in it.
Oh, the Iron Door Mine.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the exact name of it. That had a lot of activity.
Oh, I imagine so.
Yes. They used to do one of the nightfalls through there. One of the attraction out. They might still, I don't know. But I remember taking people through that one, and we would actually, afterwards go inside of there, and they had like one of those like wooden bridges to where you could hear people walk over it. I don't know if it's still there. Okay. Well, we were sitting on the other side of that, and I was sitting right on the edge of it. So I wasn't on it, but I was like right next to it. All of a sudden, everyone in the group heard someone walking across that bridge, and I could feel it moving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No one was there. No one was there. No one was walking over it, but the whole group heard the footsteps, and I could feel that thing moving.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. My husband was in there. He waited for everyone to leave, and he just stayed in there for like a couple minutes, and all of a sudden he heard a scream. So he thought that someone was still in there pranking someone. He went looking around. There was no one in there. He came out. He goes, "Where is everyone?" I'm like, "They all left. They all went on to the next location." And he goes, "Was anyone in there like 5 minutes ago?" And I'm like, "No, they all literally left."
Wow.
And he's all, "There was a huge scream in there." He's all, "I could have sworn someone was still in there." I'm like, "Nope, they all left."
Oh, jeez. Wow.
And my husband's very skeptical. He really tries to debunk. He really tries to go in there and find the cause of it. And that one, he was just like, "I can't explain that." He's all, "I cannot explain that at all." The church, the little church out there. That's another one.
Yep, that's where
I don't know if you guys have
that was the first place I worked. Was
there's if you could only imagine how many seances have been done in that church by Mr. Benny.
Quite a few.
That church was one where, unfortunately, it wasn't a positive experience for me. I felt sick.
Yep.
I walked in there. I stood up, where the preacher would do the thing, and I started feeling sick. So I had to exit the building as soon as
You're not alone there.
Yeah, after I exited the building, I was fine. Went back in, stood in the same spot, started feeling sick again.
Yeah.
So I know how to handle this. So I said what I needed to say to where I would not feel sick anymore. But then one of the guests started feeling sick, and they had to leave.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was a weird one, that people would just start feeling sick in there.
Yeah,
like it's supposed to be a church.
Definitely, yeah. It definitely has a unique energies on that one. When I was first working there, actually, a lot of my scene time was up at the podium. The very first year I worked there, we did a whole scene where my character as the Reverend becomes possessed, and I remember it was definitely, there are times where it was a rough performance, because you just feel that all of a sudden, like the tunnel's closing in on you a little bit, and I got to get outside and get some fresh air. And then you step outside, you're immediately fine. But then you go back in, and you're like, somebody either had the heater on or something. I'm not sure, but there was definitely something up there for sure.
Yeah. Now, this was before Kyrra had joined the team, but when we had done our research, we had learned a lot about, because you guys are by Gates Pass, for those who don't know, and there has been a lot of deaths on Gate Pass.
Yes.
And we had heard about one where the car basically rolled almost right near that church, where it was that far in, and so we kind of wondered if that was kind of results from that or not. We couldn't confirm, but that was something that we always kind of wondered, if someone from that car crash is just kind of residing, there. And I'm sure after a crash, they weren't feeling very well. So
sure.
that projection is kind of there. That's what I was thinking. I can't confirm it, but those were my thoughts on that because we had learned about that crash. Yeah. And there were several crashes there. So, but that one came particularly, I guess, closer than other ones had.
Yeah, and that would definitely make sense.
Guys on our research. And the more you know, yeah, because usually hauntings have a reason behind them. And I am so glad because when I was working with them before COVID, there was a certain TV show. I won't name any names because I don't do that. But they wanted to go in there and they wanted to film. And basically, they were told no. And I am so glad because of the fact that they would have made everything evil and demonic. Mm-hmm. And Old Tucson does not have that. That's not what Old Tucson is.
Right.
Old Tucson has history. Old Tucson has, possibly John Wayne. They don't have demons. They don't have evil. So I'm so glad that TV show did not go in there and kind of make Old Tucson look that way, because that is definitely not what it is.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's nothing benevolent out there. Definitely
when you do Nightfall.
Actors. I definitely think that Lou Erickson is out there from High Chaparral.
Yeah.
We see figures of a cowboy walking out there all the time. It's a big guy. And you hear the boot steps. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, also by, I want to say the Arizona Theater. Is that what it's referred to?
Yep.
I remember hearing disembodied voices out there. And that was one of the things that I was told from security, is that they would walk that area and they would always hear like a male's voice. Yeah. And we definitely heard that voice. We were out there and I couldn't make out what it was saying, but it was loud and it was there. There's no denying it.
Well, one of the groups that we had come in had a spirit box, and he called out his name. It was Chuck. His name was Charles, but he went by Chuck. And we think that he was a guy that worked in facilities out there for like 30 years.
Oh, wow. Well,
we've
definitely have a lot of history out there.
Coming.
Yeah, and what we've noticed about the paranormal and about spirits is they tend to go to where they enjoyed life, where, they were comfortable, where they had fun, where it meant a lot to them. So, that's why I said it when it surprised me if like John Wayne's out there, who knows, other actors too. I know Michael Landon would spend a lot of time out there, so who knows, they might just come and go and say, hey, I'm here again. You never know.
Right.
But it's definitely an interesting place, and there's so much history. I mean, how many films have you said has been filmed out there? There's like
470,
hundreds, right?
Yep, about 470.
See, I was way off. And what was the very last one to be filmed out there, though? Do you guys know what the last? Because I know things haven't filmed out there.
I think the last one was either Among Wolves or Long Shadows. I think was one of the last films that was done out there. And that Among Wolves, I was actually a background extra for that one. And I think Long Shadows came right after that. So, yeah, I think that's the last official film that has been done out there. And that was in the last 2 years, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and I know at that event that you guys did, that I was lucky enough to attend a couple weeks ago, you mentioned like the three amigos, and that a dream of yours would be to have them all come back. That would be really cool.
Absolutely. That would be a blast.
Yeah. And we'd love to do that with other films especially as well.
Oh, I think everyone's freezing up.
Oh, everyone quick, do crazy poses.
Yeah, I got bumped out real quick. I'm backstage again.
Yeah, I'm like, I think everyone's like frozen. There we go.
Maybe. Okay. I just like to do this every once in a while. Just freak people out.
There, we all froze up. Yeah, but the Three Amigos, the only reason I really bring that one up is because that is the only one um, that like the younger generation is, I think, more familiar with some of the actors only because of Only Murders in the Building.
Such a great show.
Because I know
we
my
are
19-year-old
anxiously waiting the next
loves
season on
Steve
that one. So good.
Short.
It's such a good show.
Yeah,
I love that show to death. No pun intended.
Yeah, my 19-year-old daughter loves that show. And it's so funny because she'll watch Steve Martin, she'll watch Martin Short, and I'll be like, oh yeah, they did, this movie way back then. And she'll watch it and she's like, they're so young. I'm like, yeah, people do tend to grow older.
They do, yeah. We just recently showed my daughter Father of the Bride, which is one of the first ones I ever saw with Steve Martin and Martin Short in them when I was a kid. And yeah, she loved that.
Right.
She had fun with the dynamic, and Franck was amazing on that. But yeah, it's so great to see those kind of actors come out. And one of the things I know we would love to be able to do out at Old Tucson is to showcase through like film screenings of all these different films that have been done out there and future films as well. But to be able to have those opportunities where you can not only shoot films out there, but then screen the films out there like a drive-in movie with a big screen and stuff, and just get the full experience on that. That's one of our other dreams that we want to have for that place.
That would be really cool. That would be awesome, actually, to have something like that, especially because Tucson doesn't really have like any of those drive-in type things anymore. So that would be really cool.
Exactly.
That's a thing of the past that I don't think my kids know used to exist.
Yeah, well, and it's beautiful open air out there, and the fact that we're so far removed from the city lights, it's a perfect venue location.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
It's very immersive too. Just like
exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that would be a very cool thing to do. And to it'd be cool to bring people back and do those little things. It'd be cool to like have like the little replay of the movie and like a little panel with the actors or something. That would be really cool to do.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
We'd love to be doing that. We should celebrate all the anniversaries of all the wonderful talent that's been out there and celebrate them for the talent that they are.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. And I heard that you guys plan on bringing back some of those like market type. Well, I don't know if I want to call them markets, but like the steam pump things that kind of went bye-bye. You guys plan on, allowing them to come back?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yes, we have big plans to add many different sections to the park. Just to provide a much broader experience of what existed in historical Tucson.
Yeah. Right.
And we're
going to be just as much of an educational park as we are an entertainment park.
Yeah. And the steampunk element is something it's near and dear to our hearts. I mean, myself personally, I'm a Renaissance Fair guy myself, and we also have plans to incorporate elements of Renaissance Fair at certain events as well, where we can even have, knights in armor coming out, because it's a film set. So why wouldn't we get creative with it?
Right.
And there's no reason why we shouldn't resemble the movie Westworld.
Exactly.
It was filmed out in Old Tucson. All of it was.
Oh, very cool. Well, everything you guys have planned sounds like wonderful. I really hope it like works. Because I would love to see Old Tucson go back to something spectacular. Right now, from my understanding, a lot of people really don't go out there unless it's like for the nightfall or the you guys do that holiday thing. Which how long has that been going on? Because honestly, I've never been to nightfall except for hosting it. But the Christmas one, I've never been to.
I think it's year 5.
Yeah, I want to say that started right around the same time that they reopened after COVID.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay. And that was something I had never.
When we get it, everything will be completely different. You'll be amazed.
Oh, see, that's cool. That is very, very cool. Kyrra, I know you did some of your little like history stuff on Old Tucson. Do you have any questions for them? Because they live out there, pretty much work out there.
I can't remember. I was like, I don't know a lot, but like I said, I did some very general historical research on it for like our post or whatever that we did. But I would say, what is your like favorite historical fact about Old Tucson?
Rob, you want to take that one first?
No, you go, Becky.
Okay.
You take that one.
Okay. Favorite historical fact. One of the things that I love personally about it is that so many of the buildings that you see are not the original buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They were built up over time, over the decades, for many different productions. And the fact that I believe there's only like a handful of original buildings that still exist from the very first set. To me, I think that's really, it's amazing because it's such a testament to the creative nature of the place, that it's this patchwork that just builds and keep rebuilding on itself. So it's one of those things most places you go to that have a historical thing, you walk in, you see, okay, well, this was the significance for this portion of history. But what's cool with Old Tucson is you're not just seeing the foundation where it started, but you're seeing all the stories that were told throughout the years as well. And there's even damage left over from the fire. You can't really see it in the buildings, but you can see it in the nature and then the surroundings. So it's this story that started back in 1939. And if you know where to look and how to look, you can see the entire story arc just played out in the locations themselves. I think, to me, that's one of my favorite historical elements of it.
For sure. For me, it's the first time that films were spliced between two different studios. You'll notice that in some of the old westerns that were shot up there, you'll see when they're talking to one cowboy, there's cactus in the background, and when they turn around to the other cowboy, it's not the mountains that are out there. It's the mountains that are out in the underground. So it was the first time ever in film that they started doing that and splicing films together.
Yeah.
So Tucson is very special to the film industry, and all the more reason why we need to bring it back, because Old Tucson is not done by any means.
Oh no, we're just getting started.
Just getting started.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for that answer. I love it.
Of course. That was a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kyrra was the one that made that post. I think it was like a week or so ago that did get a lot of attention. So that was a wonderful thing. She usually does our history posts. She's taken a little break, but whenever she does these history posts, they blow up online. I love her for that. She likes going down those rabbit holes and finding out all that information. So she does like that history part, and I add the, oh yeah, we investigated there. Add this ghost story to it. So that's always fun. But then she does things that, we haven't investigated, so I don't have anything to add to it. But, her history posts are still really cool. But
yeah, we appreciate Tucson, that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Of course. You're welcome.
And, Old Tucson, like I said, it is very dear. It is very much part of Tucson. So we very much hope that you succeed with all this. And before we let you go, we want to make sure that people know where to find you, where to find your mission, and how to find out all about this.
Well, Rob, you're a little choppy, so if you want, I can get them the website on that one. You can just
perfect.
Fill in
That'd be great.
So if people want to find out the hub of our information, it's going to be on the website hollywoodofthedesert.com, because the original Hollywood in the Desert, that's its own separate thing. So it's, once again, hollywoodofthedesert.com. You can find all the information about what our plan is, what our mission structure is, and everything else we've got going on so far. So Rob, if you want to add to that, go for
it. No, stay posted. We'll keep you posted on any news that takes place, and we look forward to seeing everyone out there.
Great. Well, you also have that Facebook page, Save Old Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone on Facebook, make sure you're liking that page right now, because I know you guys give updates on that too.
We do. Yeah.
So keep us all updated. I really hope it works for you. And, once you guys have that in hand, I'm really hoping, that a certain redhead gets to do ghost tours and ghost hunts out there.
I tell you, Rob, we really need to cast this redhead soon because I feel like it's a success waiting to happen here.
I totally agree. And good thing Benny's in charge of that department. So there you go.
There we go. We got in.
You got it in. There you go.
Well, there we go. It's always good to have an in. That's for sure.
Exactly. If you don't have an in, walk in with a ladder.
Right.
And sneak in, right?
You sneak in, yeah. No, just walk in. We learned that from Martin Short. Only murders in the building. Walk in with a ladder. You're good.
Well, you guys have our support. We really hope this works out. If you ever need us to, do another historical post about you guys or anything to bring you guys some attention, let us know. We'll be happy to do that.
Well, hopefully we're going to be using you for many, many historical posts. So, yeah, I don't think it's the end for you guys either. So we're excited about the future.
All right. Well, we're very happy. Good luck to you guys. Thank you so much for being on here. And, like I tell everyone, definitely, keep the local people supporting the local people.
Absolutely. 100%.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Benny. You have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you again.
Thank you. All right. So, Kyrra, we got to get started on those old Tucson posts, apparently.
Apparently. I got some more I got to do.
I do like their mission. I was lucky enough to go. I got invited to their little event that they were doing about their mission. I do like everything that they're trying to do. I truly do love the fact that they're trying to keep it in the local community. I cannot say it enough. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so important, to have all the locals come together, pull together, support one another. More and more, I'm finding this out because of having nationwide tours move in and scoop my little tour under a rug.
Yeah.
It's hard. And so when you have that community behind you and have everyone looking out for you, that small guy, that local guy, it does make that difference. And so the fact that they want to keep it in the community, that's one of the things I love the most. Having the community have it and, basically keeping it here, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. And the locals, we know, are the ones who care. Right.
Yes.
So it's like they've worked there for a long time. They, went there growing up or whatever. They care about it. They want to see it do well. It's not a profit, for a profit, it's trying to get the most out of someone to buy a ticket. Right.
Right.
It's like similar with like our tours, right? It's just like we put a lot of like thought, effort, research, sweat from walking downtown and
yes,
all that fun stuff.
Yes. And I remember you're talking about the sweat with walking downtown. I remember that, you did a couple walks with me, to, get the facts straight and see what buildings we would pass. So you could be like, oh, I can look up this building or, it's a lot of work. And, this is one thing that, and I'm going to focus on other local places throughout the U.S. A lot of local ghost tours, sadly, are being beaten up. I don't name names, but everyone can probably guess. You got a nationwide tour that has moved in. They're making a lot of enemies because they're doing AI for things. They're not caring about their ghost host. They're not caring about, things that they own. They've never set foot in the towns, but they have the money. They have the money that, they can advertise, and they take the names. And they take they take things off of line from these small little local tours. And so we're the ones suffering while they're adding more and more and more, and we're really trying to make it. Yeah. So a bunch of local tours right now are really trying to band together and really trying to say, support local. We have so many websites going up that, are showing the local owned tours. We have so many people putting out posts, do the local owned tours. And me being, one of those tour owners, we really do want to thank the community that's doing that. We really do want to thank the people who are doing these things to really promote us. We have people like Amy Bruni, a paranormal celebrity, even trying to say, do your research, find those local tours.
Yeah.
It's so important. So this Halloween season, please do that research. You want to look for what's saying original ghost tour or locally owned. Mine says Tucson's only locally owned ghost tour. Look for things like that before you book. And if you go to book and you're seeing they're in several cities, they're not the locally owned ones. Go find the ones that are locally owned.
For me, like when I've traveled and I've done like ghost tours and stuff, for me personally, when I look at see who like hosts it or like what the company is, I usually try to get one that is like a paranormal society for the place I go to. Is always a really good starting option. People who are like confused about it. And then stuff like that is usually you can find at least you stray away from the national ones, at least into like a local business owner typically with those.
Yeah, and a lot of them, you know, we give back to the community. You know, we're part of the community. You know, so when you're paying to do ours, it's not going out of state. You know, it's staying in the community. Yeah. You know, and that's what's really important. And that's, you know, one of the things I love about these people that, you know, want to do the old Tucson is they are local. They're staying in the community. The money is going to stay in the community. All that's going to be here in the community. So that's definitely, you know, why I support that. And, you know, plus the fact that, you know, I think I got an in, you know, on the ghost tour thing. That's really, you know, a good thing too.
Yeah. All I know is y'all are talking about experiences. I'm like, man, I need to investigate here. But I only ever went there just to like, I did Nightfall, and then I went once when I was a kid, and then once like before I moved, because one of my friends was acting there, so we like went and saw like him do his like little like stuff.
All right.
But like, yeah, I was like, I really want to investigate there now, and I'm like, come on, I want to investigate.
It's very cool. I investigated there a few times because of the fact that, you know, we did that iHeartRadio thing. We got to do it without, you know, the public too before. I think we investigated once or twice without, you know, like a public presence, and then we did them with, you know, the public, with iHeartRadio and stuff. I actually have pictures from way back when of me with the DJs, you know, with the iHeartRadio and stuff. It was a lot of fun. I loved doing it. And like I said, we were in talks to, you know, doing this. There's so much. My company was on a high. It was literally on a high. It was right where I needed it to be. It was striving. It was doing great. And then COVID.
Yeah.
And then it was like starting back from square one. But the problem is after COVID, not only was I'm starting back from square one, but these nationwide tours decided, oh, let's go ahead and move everywhere. So it's been a tough break ever since COVID. You know, I barely have made it. I barely have stayed afloat. But I'm getting some local people now that are really, you know, trying to promote. I'm so grateful for it. I'm hoping to find new places to work with. Oh, Tucson would be wonderful. Hopefully we find even more. But, you know, it is hard. And I really, really, you know, this Halloween season, I can't say it enough. Find those local tours, people, please. That is so important. But we personally have a lot coming up. We've been doing a lot, actually. We've had a lot of paranormal investigations. I'm working on my second book. This is my first. The second book, we've been walking in locations and investigating. We have an investigation coming up on the 29th for the book. But next weekend we are in Mesa, so we're coming to you.
Yay.
We're going to the convention center, right? That's where it is?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, I want to make sure I'm getting this right. There's Mesa's Gathering of the Ghouls. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. And we have a panel there on Saturday at 5 p.m. And our panel is True Ghost Stories. This will be the first time we ever do this lecture. We got together this really cool slideshow with the help of the team. Everyone tells a personal little ghost story. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do that lecture. And then, like I said, we have an investigation. And then the first weekend in September, we have Tucson Comic-Con. I know you're not going to that one. In fact, the only team members going to that one is Dave, myself, Aubrey, and I think Jen. It's going to be our last year at Comic-Con in Tucson. Unfortunately, we've been doing it for 10 years plus, and I think the team is just kind of like, we're kind of tired of doing that one. I don't know, but everyone doesn't seem as thrilled to do the Tucson Comic-Con anymore. So this is going to be our last year at the Comic-Con in Tucson. But hopefully we'll be doing panels with other places like, the Gathering of the Ghouls. I know we have, I have a library lecture coming up in September too. We have some special events. We have our normal ghost tours, ghost hunts. So we're starting to get in our busy season. Hopefully it is truly busy. Hopefully, they book. 13 years ago today, I went on my first ever ghost hunt. I did not know that day was going to change my life forever. I went on that ghost hunt, and then a week later, I'm talking to the owner of who owned that ghost hunt, asking about why I never heard about the Tucson Ghost Tour, and all of a sudden, I was a business owner.
That's wild. It literally is like that was like boom, immediately like, right after. It's so wild to me.
It was, I think, within probably a month, everything was finalized.
Wow.
Because I know I had bought it and got it up and running in time for October. So it was just like one thing after another. I never knew that 13 years ago, by doing one little ghost hunt, because I was curious, was going to change my life forever. So from doing a public ghost hunt to owning a ghost tour, doing, public ghost hunts, this podcast, having a paranormal team, to writing my first book, to now working on my second book, I would have never thought that 13 years ago. It's been a struggle, but it's one that I would not change for the world. I love what I do. I love doing this. And I just hope and pray that I have many, many more years of doing this. Hopefully it doesn't tank.
I'm honored to have been along this journey with you in your past 13 years. I jumped on like 2.5 years, but it took 2.5 years ago. So I'm really glad I get to be part of your story.
Yes, I'm so thankful to have you because you are an awesome historian. I love that you go down those rabbit holes. I think you're awesome at what you do. Our longest team member has been May. She's been with me since day one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dave has come and go in the past 13 years. He was there towards the beginning, left, came back, left, came back. I always tell Dave, he always will come back. So
yeah.
But he's been the second longest. And then we had welcomed back Jen and Audrey. And then we also have the other Jen. But it's been a wild ride. I'm very thankful for it. I hope to continue doing this. And for our 13 years, I am going to run some specials. One's already active for the Tucson Haunted History. If you book 13 people or more, you get the price of $13 per person.
Oh,
okay.
Good deal.
Good deal. $13 per person for 13 or more. Of course, it's a 13 thing. I will have another one that will come out on September 13th, and I'll make the announcement around September 9th of what that will be. So if you're not following Tucson Ghost Company on Facebook, be sure to be doing that because that's where that announcement will be coming out. All right, Kyrra, I'm sure Stan wants to get out of there. He was probably eating dessert and taking his time. So what do you have to say to our listeners?
Thanks for listening, everybody. Please check Sable Tucson out and the Wild West Enterprise. Check all our social medias. I hope to see some people at our panel on Saturday. And as always, stay spooky.
All right. Thank you, Kyrra. Yes, come check us out. We do have a post on Facebook showing where we're going to be. And I put reminders out there before, a couple days before. Come see us. Would love to meet you all. Buy my book. You can buy it on Amazon. You can go to my website, TucsonGhostCompany.com, and get a link there. Thank you all for listening. Thank you to the old Tucson, Benny and Rob. We wish you the best of luck. We hope to be working with you soon, and we hope you have great success. Do local. Always do local. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, remember, you're never truly alone. Good night, everyone.